So I have an update on the fire investigation that the Montebello Police Department is working. I was notified that unfortunately the female victim of the fire and the male victim of the fire passed away as a result of their injuries. At this time, we believe that the male involved in this case is the suspect. This does appear to be a domestic violence related incident. We unfortunately can't confirm their identities as we're waiting for the coroner's office to identify them and also notify next of kin. We also can not identify the victim inside of the residence as we are still waiting for the coroner's office as well. The investigation will continue as to the cause of the fire, any possible motive of why this took place. But unfortunately, I have the terrible responsibility here to notify you all that both victims that went to the hospital have passed away.
Chief, is there any way, do you know the relationship between the child inside and the two people, the adults?
We believe that the child inside is related to one of the adults. However, at this point, we're still trying to confirm that. In these kind of cases with fires and the type of injuries that fires do, it's difficult to identify people until the coroner does that. So it'd be premature to speculate who they are, but it does appear that there's a relationship between one of the adults.
And do we believe that it was domestic violence related?
At this point, the investigation is showing that it appears to be. It appears that the male subject and the female were known to each other in talking to neighbors and other witnesses. So we can establish that part, just not a motive at this time.
So we don't know if the fire was intentionally set?
Not at this time.
Do we know if they all lived together, the three of them?
We do not know that yet.
What makes you believe that it was domestic violence?
Based on the responding officers, the initial comments made by witnesses and people on scene, it appears that it was domestic violence related. But at this point, our detectives will work basically from when this crime took place backwards to try to find out what happened hours, even days leading to the incident, so we can identify a motive.
Obviously, just a horrendous outcome to this day. Your thoughts on losing three members of your community?
It's a tragedy. Montebello is a very close-knit community. Anytime there's any loss of life, it's tragic. When it involves domestic violence, it's really tragic because it involves the family unit. When you have minors involved, as parents, as folks that have kids, it hurts more. And this neighborhood is grieving. This block will be grieving for a long time. Their neighbors, their friends, their people that they grew up with. So this is far beyond just today. It will affect a lot of people for a long time.
Do you have an age on the child who died?
The only thing I can confirm on the child is they're a minor.
What's next in the investigation?
Right now, we're waiting for our arson investigators from the Montebello Fire Department to complete their arson investigation. You'll also see some crime scene folks behind me. They're basically photographing and documenting the entire street, the entire scene. Once the scene is clear, the detectives will continue their follow-ups at the hospital. We have personnel there. And then really now at this point, it's really working backwards in trying to identify what incidents could have led to such a horrific day here in Montebello.
Are you considering this a homicide?
At this point, any death at the hand of another is a homicide. We're looking to see what the motive was, what the cause were. We know there was a fire. We know there were injuries because of the fire, but we can't just focus solely on the fire. There could be more than that. So that's what our detectives are working on.
And did both the man and the woman live in that house?
Not both, no. Well, we believe that the woman did. We cannot confirm whether the male did.
Can you please
Not the relation. You can't confirm the relationship between them.
Not at this time, no.
Can you please reiterate the victims and exactly like how many in their cells?
Sure. So I'll just start from the beginning. At about 4:30 in the morning, Montebello Police got a call of a possible fire with possibly injured persons. When our officers arrived on scene, they found one male that appeared to have burn injuries, and then also a female that had burn injuries. They immediately requested paramedics, got them assistance. They then learned that there was possibly another person inside of the house. By that time, the home was fully engulfed. The fire department came, did rescue efforts. They did find the deceased minor inside, Both male and female adults were transported to a local hospital for treatment, and unfortunately this afternoon they both succumbed to their injuries.
Are there any indications an accelerant was used?
That's what our arson investigators are here for, and that's what they'll determine.
So I wasn't here earlier. Were the victims, the male and female, found outside the home?
That's correct. They were found outside. A female was found closer to the house. The male subject was found a little bit further away, but they were both outside. The decedent was inside.
Do
You
we know
mentioned
if
that
there
around
had
the
been?
corner where there's like a scene, there was some evidence over there. Can you share what evidence is over there?
Sure. I can't share the exact details of the evidence because it's part of this case, but it is part of this investigation. So there is actually two separate crime scenes because one of the persons was walking away. There's evidence that's discarded. So we close off that area to make sure that we can get the evidence, preserve it, and then have our CSI folks process it for the case.
Do
Can
we
you
know
tell us
if,
where in the home the
your
child
officers
was
have
found?
responded to other maybe domestic violence calls or other calls for help at this residence?
That's part of the investigation that our detectives are looking at to see prior calls for service. Once we identify the persons involved, to see if there's any police contact, and that could give us an idea of past issues. But at this time, we don't know.
And do you know where in the home the child was found?
The best I can confirm right now is just inside the residence.
A lot of neighbors said there was an explosion before the fire, or maybe right at the beginning of it. Are you able to speak at all to that?
When our officers got here, the home was fully engulfed. That may have happened before we got here, but that's something that our fire department arson investigators will look at. And they'll look for accelerants, cause, location, and that'll help us to determine how this fire started, and then certainly what happened once the fire started and when the people got injured and when the person inside was deceased.
I just didn't know if there was an obvious reason why the child couldn't get out, but the two adults could.
That we don't know, and we're working with the fire investigators to see when the injuries happened and if there was a possibility for the child to get out or not.
Are there other injuries to the child's body other than the fire?
That we don't know, and that's what we'll wait for the investigator to get here. The coroner's investigators will get here, they'll examine the body, and then they'll let us know cause of death, and which they'll pass on to our investigators.
How soon could we get the names and ages of all the people involved?
That'll depend on the coroner's office once they're identified. Unfortunately, this was a horrific act, and fire does horrific things to someone. Once they're able to be positively identified, they'll have to notify next of kin. Once that all happens, then we can release the information.
Chief, with these two individuals on fire, did your responding officers help extinguish the flames on these individuals when they showed up initially?
So what my understanding is when they got here, although they had injuries consistent with fire, it wasn't a situation that called for that. They were just burned as a result of the fire.
You may not be able to answer yet, but is this a home that officers have been called to before?
So we normally in these types of investigations, we'll check for prior calls for service. And also once we positively identify the persons involved, we can also check them by name to see if we had contacts. And that's part of the investigation to figure out what their prior history and what could have caused such a horrific event.
Were there any statements from neighbors stating that there was some yelling, screaming, any type of arguments before the fire?
Our detectives are going to interview all witnesses and all neighbors. Once we have a good picture of what was said, we can make that part of the investigation. Being that it's still an active investigation because we have to determine what happened, that's still evidentiary items that we couldn't really speak on.
There were reports that the fire reached a power line and kind of blew
Yeah, and we're
power.
just
Power
learning
was
more
stored.
tragic developments.
Right now, the fire department's working on that. We also, our fire department called out the Red Cross. There are some people that are displaced because of the fire. So equally important in situations like this is for us to take care of people that live in the neighborhood that are displaced. And so we're also efforting that as well.
When can we expect another update from you?
I think for today, this will be the last update. Any further information that we get, we'll put out a press release tomorrow. If any other significant issues come out, we'll contact all of you and we can set another press release.
And I know you're waiting for the coroner, but how long will this remain closed?
Generally speaking, once the fire department and the arson investigation is done, all the evidence is collected, then the coroner investigator will begin their job. So it's likely still several hours.
Maybe till tomorrow morning.
It's a possibility.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone.